Hi everyone, my name is Christian Mbong, and in this presentation I'll be talking about MedLab Diagnostic Limited, is which deals with advanced laboratory services and it has two locations, which is Abuja and Lagos here in Nigeria. Those two locations have a total employee of 85, and in MedLab, we have a computer that is they're all on premises in the data also. It is not a cloud base. And that's why this presentation is necessary. And let's dive into the necessary key points. Now, because of disaster recovery, or if we have any disaster, and MedLab does not have any um, data preservation. So that's why we bring up this hybrid cloud adoption proposal for MedLab Diagnostic. Now, this is the executive summary in which shows that this current on-premises infrastructure lacks disaster recovery, automated backups, and efficient inter-branch collaboration. Now, this proposal recommends hybrid cloud model, which is we are looking at using Microsoft Azure and AWS as a secondary disaster recovery. Now, this gives us a great advantage, which is 99% uptime for critical EMR and patient portals, and also automated daily backups from all from the two sites, Lagos and Abuja. And also, we are also prepared to look at compliance with every other federal and national laws. Now, this is the current business state, and this is what we have, and this is also the existing technologies which we have. But the downside from the technology is that it has no centralized disaster recovery. It's a manual transfer of data, and which can take between more than 1 hour at some point. And also it has a high data loss because it's not in the cloud, which synchronize or save data automatically. But it has no cloud integration or auto scaling. Now, this is the cloud. This is what we want to provide a MedLab diagnostic, and we want to provide that this will have full control over patient privacy, and we have scalability, cost efficiency, offsite safety, and also VPN will be used to make sure that data are encrypted and synchronized at the same time from both branches. Okay. Now, this is the model we are looking at using infrastructure as a service and platform as a service. And this will make use of virtual machines, cloud storage, and virtual network for EMR and to replicate for backups and every other thing. And platform as a service for data analytics and organizing data for patients or to make some findings with data analysis platform. And also this will help for business value for infrastructure as a service. It will give us accelerated development and reduce operational overhead. And these are the advantage, that redundancy, which simply means multiple availability zones, which replicate data across both sites, which if we are luckily to take if our market increases and then we can have this in all this region, it will have issues in redundancy and replication. It also shows high availability too, which helps in load balancing. And so this service level agreement is 99% for high availability, 99.9%. And disaster recovery, we are looking at 4 hours for 24 hours, which is within 1 day for recovery point objective, and 4 hours for recovery time objectives. And the backup is immutable cloud backups. Sorry about that. And going back to networking and storage, we have our primary to be this, which is main one at this megabytes per second. And also the secondary, which is MTN business at 20 to 80 megabytes, and we have a follower, which can be at dual LAN, might be Airtel or fiber cable if it fails. So we also tend to use virtual private network, which is for remote staffs and people who can barely, or for customers that can easily access the site or book appointments at any time. Okay, so this is our storage for cloud service. We are using Azure. We have Azure Blob storage and also Azure Managed Disks and many more. So we are using content delivery network, which is going to help in saving files and data. So we have domain name. We are going to have the private, which will help divide the URL for the staff and also the public and other health workers or remote workers. So we have public private domain name system. Okay, so this will basically help go a long way in making the cloud a better place or a better platform for MedLab diagnostic. So in our findings, we get to see that this in our gap action plan, and if you look through our gap action plan, and we have owners of each of those action plan that we have that IT manager will take care of each of these action plan. And IT manager for this, that is deploy site to site VPN, and then HR and IT will be the ones to train and work on Azure training and certification. And also compliance officer will work on creating the NDPR and HIPAA policy. And also this will be taken care of. Implementation of this will be taken care of if it's been approved, taken care of by the cloud architect, and security engineer will handle the recovery and backup processes. Okay, under our engaging cloud vendors, we tend to find out that our capital expenditure will be on the MRI, CT scanners, and on-premise servers to retain NASA's devices. So under operational, we look at monthly cloud subscription for Azure and staff salaries and then maintenance contracts. Now, this staff salaries might depend on their performance. It can be increased depending on which area we are looking at to increase the salary. That's why we are looking at operational. Okay, so we have potential cloud vendors. So we have mentioned the potential of first Azure. Microsoft Azure is the primary, and one of the secondary is Amazon Web Services. So our variable cost and fixed costs will be that cloud storage and data transfer. These are our variable costs because we don't know how the influx of customer, influx of data, of storage, whether it increases or it reduces. So it will be so the fixed cost will be branch rental and core staff salary. Okay, so we are looking at licensing. These are the licenses we are looking at to make sure there won't be any problem for analytics and support or in government. So we work on proof of concept plan, which is 2 weeks to work on that to see how well it works. And this is our 7-level agreement, which goes for Azure and Amazon Web Services. This is virtual machine uptime and storage durability. So these are the key importance in which we want to bring to MedLab Diagnostic Limited. So under management and technical operations, which have jumped from migration principles, we are going to use a lift shift migration principle, which will make it easy and it will reduce the time of implementation or uploading. Okay, in availability and disposability. So this is that will deploy across multiple availability zones and geo redundancy. This will help. This will really help between the two zones, which is Abuja and Lagos, to make sure the redundancy and availability of data and every other thing it's works well. So we have that our development, operations, and monitoring optimized. We have all of them here, auto scaling at from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Now, financial planning, which this is the financial planning. So we know that there will be regulatory concerns in which we are looking at working with the Nigerian Data Protection Regulation and HIPAA in terms of the international to make sure that data regulation doesn't have any issue or problem with the customers or within their staff. So under certification, we've obtained this certifications to make sure that send data regulatory problems is being sorted out soon. So under security assessments, so we know that there will be vulnerability due to hackers and many other things or many other people, or whether it might be from the staff or from the customers. We've gone through the process of the risk assessment for that, and we've created these are the rating for each of those branches, and we see that each of them have 5, and 4. And people that will manage those risks are the managers, the security personnel, based on each of the risks we have here. Okay. And under risk response strategy, so we will look at mitigation, which is a very important part of risk management to mitigate risks. That means using multiple authentication factor, encrypting data, and daily backups. At the same time, training of staff to make sure that they know the importance of locking the system and also changing their password as required. And also, we also look at we accept failure, and then we look at how we can work on that to make sure that it doesn't happen. So we look at avoidance of this risk also, which is the same thing as working with IT managers to make sure the staffs understand. Okay, so this is the presentation. Now, the benefit of this will help us manage the risks very well, and we'll be able to make the cloud a safe place for MedLab and for the customers. Okay, so with this presentation, I know that if it is been approved, that MedLab will be the cloud will be a safe place and will improve the business in, let me say, 80%. So in our key assumption, we know that MedLab will return to on-premises after everything when we are done with the phase 4. The internet connectivity will upgrade because we use dual fiber. And IT teams, we have 3 to 4 staffs that will work on that to make sure that everything works smoothly with fundamental security training with Azure, so that all the staffs will be able to understand the security part of the cloud system. Now, all patient data will be encrypted before leaving on-premises network. Okay, and compliance officer will be appointed or trained during the phase 2. Okay, so this is the presentation. Thank you so much for listening. Please, if there's any question or contribution, let me know.